Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at some gameplay that's a little bit different. Instead of one champion versus the other, we're going to pair up two champions and we're going to go with Magik and Thor Jane Foster versus Ghost and Quake and see which team is actually better to use for gameplay. And so we're going to start off with the team of Ghost. And let's find, well, we got Quake and Ghost. Let's find Ghost here in this lineup. And here she is. And we're going to be using 5-star rank 4. So it's not fully ranked up, rank 5 champions for this gameplay. And we're going to be taking a look first of all at Quake and Ghost. And then we're going to be looking at Magik and Thor Jane Foster. And we're going to see which champion is really most useful for the majority of players in the game, not the top 1% or 10% that is extremely skilled, but just overall gameplay, and see which champion is actually going to be most useful to players to clear a variety of pots. So first of all, we're just looking at the synergies here. And as you can see, it's a little bit of some weird synergies with Quake. She doesn't need to have any synergies to be very effective and do a lot of damage and destructive, but she does require a high skill level. And today we're just going to show you and showcase a beginner, someone that is new, someone that's been playing the game and still hasn't acquired the skill to use her, how effective she is in the hands of an ordinary player, and if she's actually worth ranking up until you require or have acquired that skill level. So the thing with Quake is she has that ricochet when she's awakened, where she while blocking she sends back some damage towards the opponent. And then of course we have Ghost, arguably the best champion in the game. A lot of people think she's in the top 5, top 10. Some people believe she's the #1 champion in the game. As you can see, she has some pretty good critical damage rating. She is considered a villain, whereas Quake is considered a hero. That's the difference between the two of them. So we're looking at Quake and we're looking at Ghost. Again, two champions that are in the top 5. I would say most of the Marvel Contest of Champions community would say that they are definitely the two best, if not arguably which one goes to the top as the best champion for damage in the game. And certain circumstances definitely are very, very useful to clear certain parts in the game. Again, Ghost, I would say, is more reliable, reliant, I should say, on synergies. She has a fantastic synergy with quite a few players in the game, and that makes her really, really good. The hood makes her in this, she tanks everything. She takes no damage at all while phasing, so that's a very unique. Again, everything with Ghost is about timing, everything is about skill, everything is about really, it's all about paying attention to the game. You cannot miss focus, you cannot you can't take the eye off the prize, you can't afford a mistake, because it's all about using her phasing properties properly. And it's the same could be said with Quake. These champions do take a lot of damage if you're not on the ball and you're not really skilled in pulling off the moves. So let's take a look at Quake against the Winter Soldier, and we're gonna look at these first two champions and see how far we could take this guy down. Again, we not following any combos and strategies and stuff. We just normal play, light, medium, heavy hits and firing off stuff. And again, the more skilled, this is how average player will play Quake. Now, as we know, You want, as a skilled player, you would probably just parry and work heavy, not getting him any power gain, the opponent any power gain. So you would probably parry and just use a heavy. The problem is no new player is used to that, and what they do is just fight and use Quake as a normal player. So as you can see, she's taken quite a lot of damage. So it's the forgiveness on damage. She has no regeneration going on. So she takes damage, she stays damaged. There's no coming back in the next fight. There's no healing other than willpower if you have that set up. As you can see, her aftershocks are building on him, and the more aftershocks you have, the more damage she does. Again, so this is how the basic player would play her. And as you can see, he's only at 95%. He's not really taking a whole ton of damage. It is a 5-star rank 4 champion to be playing with. But again, we holding that heavy. That's what we do the damage. The timer runs off. She's going to evade the first hit and you want to parry and stuff like that. But most of the champions that I've seen playing this champion gets clipped all of the time and are not able to continually pay attention and focus on timing of the parry and that holding that heavy for the aftershock. And definitely once you give the opponent, as we could see here, a bar or two of power, when they fire off that one, you're going to get stranded, or you're going to get left by taking that damage because she's not prepared for that damage, and then Quake is out of the game. So as great as she is, in the hand of the wrong player, which is 95% of the community, you're going to be dead with a champion that is super powered, but is just unaware of playing her. Now Ghost starts phasing because she's awakened for 2 seconds. Any hits that miss, you get a bar, you gain power. So that's pretty cool. Now, she is a little bit easier to play, in my opinion, than Quake. Quake takes a whole lot of practice. Still, Quake, Ghost is a little bit better. You could pretty much, the average player, get some damage done. Now, we are supposed to, what? We are supposed to time that dash back to phase and then fire off the SP1. The problem is if the champion, the opponent is holding block, it really doesn't do a whole lot of damage. You really have to time that into his attack. And you will get some damage done. I would say with Ghost, you'll get a lot more damage done with regular gameplay. Arguably, again, with Quake, if you're really good with using Quake, you are going to do a whole lot more damage without taking any damage or giving that champion any power gain. But again, you could phase. The problem is with phasing too, if you time it wrong, you get clipped with someone like Winter Soldier with the back, the last few hits with those bullets. You're gonna phase, we're gonna fire up the SP3 here. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage, I would say. He's still at 75%, still at 75%, 74%. So not a whole lot of damage. Again, this is a rank 5 awakened, rank 4 awakened champion. She takes a lot of damage when you mess up with her. The thing is, she could dash back, phase, and get rid of bleeds or incinerates or anything else that is on her. That is pretty cool. So she does have a lot more utility. But again, it's all about timing. So now we're gonna just change up the gameplay a little bit and get a bit better to see what damage she can do. Again, pulling back too fast, you're gonna miss that. Most people miss it. And once she has an armor break, she's finished. There's no phasing done, and that's where she gets most of her damage. So any armor break champion is going to finish her and take her out of the game anyway. She's very, very good for attack, terrible on defense. I mean, she really, anyone can take her down with no skill required when she's on defense. So I don't know why anyone would put her on a defense or an alliance war for defending, because she's pretty easy to take out. Again, any armor break champ will disable that phasing. Again, let's see if we could fire up the SP2 and see what damage she does. We're gonna dash back again. We won't time in that right, like most people won't. And then we're gonna fire up the SP3 and let's see if we could get back into this damage before she actually goes down. Remember, we want this fight to at least go down to 50% with these two champions. Then we're gonna bring in the other two champions and see what we could do. So here we go, miss. Again, not waiting for him to come into us. So there you go. See, this is what the average player would be doing. Here's what a more skilled player would be doing. Well, not at that point. Let's see. We're going to again make that mistake, pull back, go. Again, I'm showing you, once he's holding block or the opponent is holding block, all of that phasing is just is ridiculous. She is reliant on that synergies to make her unblockable when she phases. That's when she gets devastating. But that is dependent on the fact that you have a champion that is actually synergizing with her to work. And then she's out. She probably brought down this guy. Both of these champions brought him down to maybe about 50%. So that wasn't really very good, was it? Really not good. So now we're going to take a look at Magik and Thor Jane Foster, just to give you a reference of two champions that no one's radar. I mean, Magik was probably up there, highly rated, but no one rates Jane Foster in this category or this class of play anyway. 99% of them Marvel Contest of Champion players are going to pick Ghost and Quake before they pick Thor Jane Foster or Magik, and that's just the way it is. In my opinion, we're going to take a look at these five-star champions. Both awakened again, and only at rank 4. They're not at rank 5. So we're looking for, let's see here. We're looking for Magik, and we're looking for Thor Jane Foster. And let's just take a look at the data here. So again, rank 4. And as you can see, her critical damage rating is 152. It's not quite as high as the other champions. And the thing with Thor Jane Foster, however, is that she can chain those stuns. And that makes her extremely dangerous. And I think she's a highly underrated champion. So newer members, if you have Jane Foster, you have Magik, in my opinion, right now, I'm telling you, as you can see, Magik, she is going to have Nullify, Power Lock, Fate Seal, Power Steel, sorry, and Power Lock. She's one of the best champions for control. She has good synergies, does not need any of them actually to be effective. She has a 202% critical damage rating. So we're gonna put her in here. And then at the end of this fight, you guys are going to decide in the comments below and see which team you think is better or which individual champ is best. And again, in the hands of the 1 or 2%, Ghost and Quake definitely is going to be very devastating. Even the average player with Quake could probably pull out some serious damage. You might get lucky once in a while and just pull out that timing with a dash back and firing off that SP. You just might get lucky, 50% of the chance without skill, and you might get it at about 90% with skill. And if the opponent is holding block, there's absolutely no damage unless you have this synergy. So with that said, let's look at this pair. We are going to look at Thor Jane Foster and Magik. So let's start with Magik. She's obviously the more popular champion in this gameplay. Winter Soldier is at 100%. Remember that your other two champions with average gameplay, nothing but too much skill, not being too much of a pro, we brought him down to 50%. So with Magik, again, she has that limbo kicking in after she gets a bar of power or 2 bars of power. She has more a limbo, or she's going to trigger it more often. The thing is, again, with the other champions, we took damage, but check that out. She went down to 40%, back up to 78% with that limbo. So you can mess up with Magik, and she's very unforgiving. Once she has that limbo going, you're going to take hits. In fact, in my opinion, it is better to take some hits because she actually heals more health than she currently has when she revives. Again, you see, we back up to 78%, down to 75%. We're going to take them hits in limbo, and then she goes back up to 67%. So she's very forgiving, and she's going to do a lot of damage. As you can see, it's already down to 91%. So this champion is actually doing more damage than the other two champions, Ghost and Quake, and bringing down this Winter Soldier a lot faster with just average normal gameplay. There's nothing special. You don't have to worry about anything. You just know that when she's over bar power, she's going to trigger that limbo more often, 2 bars of power even more often. And when she takes that limbo on, if you get a hit, you want to get that hit, like I'm showing you there now, she goes and actually regenerates more health than she had previously. Now that takes some time, and sometimes if you want to be really reliant on it, but you don't have to be too reliant on it, because you're going to get it. If you get it 50% of the time, you're going to be healing, you're going to stay in the fight longer. And again, with that power lock on SP2, that's what you want. Unless the opponent has a lot of buffs on them, SP1 is going to nullify the buffs. But you want to push her to SP2 all of the time. SP2, keep her at SP2. Fire it off, power lock that opponent, do your damage. Take some hits if you have to. Light, medium hits, take it. I don't suggest taking an SP. You probably will not be taking an SP damage from anyone anyway, because you're going to have them power locked below 1 bar power. And she's going to take some hits. We're going to regenerate some health, and we can do this all day long with Magik. Here you go. You're going to take the hits, regen. And again, normal gameplay, nothing too special, nothing out of this world, nothing that anyone cannot do when they first start the game. That is why she's such a crazy champion to have. And then she regains some health. We're going to fire the SP2. We go into limbo, take some health gain, and we're going to be able to take some hits. Once we go into that limbo again, let's just take some hits. And we're going to regenerate some health. There we go. As you can see, she's taking regular hits as well, and her health is pretty much up there. She doesn't take too much damage. She's not as weak as Ghost and Quake is. Now let's see if we could time it to trigger that limbo and take some hits. There you go, 20%, back up to 36%. We're gonna fire off the power lock. So taking the hits do two things. You're actually going to regen the health, and you're actually going to get yourself some power by taking hits. Your power bar is actually going up to that 2 bars of power where you want it, so that you keep that opponent power locked. And you don't mind taking hits once you're in limbo. And this girl can just go all the time. Now, so Quake and Ghost, both average gameplay, took him down to 50%. Magik on her own is taking him down to 50%. And let's see how far we could push him. We're gonna push him until we leave some gameplay for Thor Jane Foster. But again, we're gonna take him under 50% of health. and we still at 20% health, which is a lot of health to regen from. We're gonna power lock in. And now instead of blocking, I could have took those light hits and regen even more health. But you could see her block proficiency is pretty good as well. So overall, so far, if I was to look at Quake, Ghost, and Magik, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, you could leave the comments below and let me know if I'm wrong, if I'm right, what you think. But I'm thinking for the average player, 99% of the community, 95% of the community, Magik is the better best. If you rank up Magik before Quake and Ghost, you're not doing too badly, and you probably keep yourself in the game a lot longer, able to make mistakes, which we all do, no matter how skilled we are. We all make mistakes, and we're going to end this right now and bring in 35%. We're going to bring in Thor Jane Foster for the final 35% of the fight. So far, in my opinion, again, please leave your comments below as to what you think, and hopefully you find these videos helpful in making a rank up decision, because resources are very, very important to use wisely. And if you were to have these 4 champions, who would you rank up first? Now I'm showing you now, we taking some hits down to 76% with Jane Foster. She took the hits like a champ. We're down on health, but that's not a problem because we're chaining this stun all day long. Now once you fire off her SP1, you have a chance, a high chance, to stun the opponent. As you can see, he's in stun mode. We could keep stunning him. We're gonna fire, and the heavies will stagger him. That was a heavy, so every heavy is gonna stagger him. And then once we have that SP1 fired off, we're going to fire up the SP1 to keep that shock going. And once the opponent is shocked and you fire off hits on him, he is going to get stunned. And look at this chain going here. Remember, we took the hits at the start of the fight and she was down to 67%. She's down to 65%. But look at the damage she's putting on this dude. He absolutely does not have any chance to even recover. So while she is rated a little bit less, she is highly underestimated, because she is wrecking him with a ton of damage. As long as that SP1 shock is on him, you can stagger and you will get some hits that will actually stun him. Here we go, we're gonna fire off the SP2. That's gonna apply the shock. And remember, once he's shocked and you fire off that basic attacks, you're gonna eventually shock him, stun him. And her health pool is pretty good as well as Jane Foster. So as you can see, a lot more durable than Quake and Ghost. So between these 4, I would say Magik and Thor Jane Foster are the better team. They're definitely better at the kills. They have a lot more higher damage. They take a lot less damage. They're more useful to the unskilled player. And hope you guys enjoyed the video gameplay. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you enjoy the videos, and hit the notification bell so you have some follow-up notifications in your email when we put out new content. So for this video, let's take a look at it. We had Ghost and Quake, and then we had Jane Foster, Thor Jane Foster, and Magik. And in my opinion, the better champions for most people to rank up first would be Magik and Thor Jane Foster for more damage in the game content. Let me know with your thoughts below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Work less, play more, enjoy life. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.